He was a peasant, a mystic, a healer, a sinner, a saint, a prophet, and a power broker. He was Grigori Rasputin, the most mysterious man to ever exist in the history of Russia. His life and death are shrouded in legends, myths, and mysteries. How did he rise from obscurity to become the confidant of the last Tsar and Tsarina of Russia? How did he survive several assassination attempts, only to be killed by a group of conspirators in a gruesome way? And what was his role in the downfall of the Romanov dynasty and the Russian Empire? Rasputin was born on January 10, 1869, in the small village of Pokrovskoye in Siberia. He was the fifth of 9 children of a poor peasant family. He had a religious conversion experience at age 18 after embarking on a pilgrimage to a monastery. He became fascinated by the teachings of the Callisti sect, which believed that one could achieve salvation through sinning and repenting. Rasputin adopted a doctrine that the best way to reach God was through sexual exhaustion, and he became notorious for his licentiousness and debauchery. Rasputin did not become a monk, but rather a strannik, or a wandering holy man. He traveled to various holy places such as Mount Athos in Greece and Jerusalem, living off the donations of the peasants and gaining a reputation as a starets, or a self-proclaimed holy man, with the ability to heal the sick and predict the future. He also claimed to have visions and to communicate with the Virgin Mary and other saints. In 1903 or 1904, Rasputin arrived in St. Petersburg, the capital of the Russian Empire. He captivated a number of religious and social leaders who were intrigued by his charisma and his alleged miracles. He was introduced to the royal family in 1905 and soon became a close friend of Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra, who were devout Orthodox Christians. They were especially impressed by his ability to improve the condition of their only son, Alexei, who suffered from hemophilia, a rare blood disorder that caused him to bleed uncontrollably from minor injuries. Rasputin seemed to have a calming effect on the boy and to stop his bleeding episodes with his prayers and his hypnotic gaze. Rasputin's influence over the imperial family grew over the years as he became their trusted advisor and spiritual guide. He also gained access to the political and military affairs of the state and often interfered with the appointments and decisions of the ministers and generals. He was seen by many as a corrupt and sinister figure who manipulated the weak and naive Tsar and Tsarina and who exploited his position for his own personal gain and pleasure. He was accused of being a spy, a heretic, a madman, and even the Antichrist. He made many enemies among the nobility, the clergy, the intelligentsia, and the public, who blamed him for the misfortunes and failures of the empire. Rasputin's power reached its peak in 1915 when Nicholas left St. Petersburg to take command of the Russian army, which was engaged in the First World War against Germany and Austria-Hungary. In his absence, Alexandra and Rasputin effectively ruled the country, and their policies were disastrous. They dismissed competent ministers and generals and replaced them with incompetent and corrupt ones. They ignored the demands of the parliament, the Duma, and the people for political and social reforms. They alienated the Allies, especially Britain and France, by refusing to cooperate with their war plans. They also faced a series of crises, such as food shortages, inflation, strikes, riots, and mutinies, which threatened to overthrow the regime. Rasputin's downfall came in the early morning of December 30th, 1916, when he was assassinated by a group of conservative noblemen who hoped to save the monarchy and the country from his evil influence. The plot was led by Prince Felix Yusupov, the husband of the Tsar's niece, and involved Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, a cousin of the Tsar, and Vladimir Purishkevich, a right-wing member of the Duma. They lured Rasputin to Yusupov's palace, where they offered him poisoned wine and cakes, which he consumed without any apparent effect. They then shot him several times, but he still managed to escape and run outside, where they shot him again and beat him with a club. They finally wrapped his body in a cloth and dumped it into the frozen Neva River, where it was found a few days later. Rasputin's murder did not save the Romanov dynasty, but rather hastened its end. Less than 3 months later, in March 1917, a revolution broke out in Russia, which forced Nicholas to abdicate and brought down the monarchy. The Tsar and his family were arrested and exiled to Siberia, where they were executed by the Bolsheviks in July 1918. Rasputin's prophecy, which he had written to Nicholas shortly before his death, came true. "If I am killed by common assassins, and especially by my brothers, the Russian peasants. You, Tsar of Russia, have nothing to fear. Remain on your throne and govern. And you, Russian Tsar, will have nothing to fear for your children. They will reign for hundreds of years in Russia. But if I am murdered by boyars, nobles, and if they shed my blood, their hands will remain soiled with my blood. For 25 years they will not wash their hands from my blood. They will leave Russia. Brothers will kill brothers, and they will kill each other and hate each other, and for 25 years there will be no nobles in the country. Tsar of the land of Russia, if you hear the sound of the bell, which will tell you that Grigori has been killed, you must know this. If it was your relations who have wrought my death, then no one of your family, that is to say, none of your children or relations, will remain alive for more than 2 years. They will be killed by the Russian people. Rasputin's legacy remains controversial and enigmatic. He has been portrayed in various ways, from a saintly healer and a visionary prophet, to a demonic charlatan and a corrupt manipulator. He has inspired numerous books, films, songs, and artworks which have explored his life and his mysteries. He has also become a symbol of the decadence and the decline of the Russian Empire and of the turbulent and tragic events that shaped the 20th century.